This is the second half of the 2.2 lecture. This lecture will finish off section 2.2. Um, in this section, we're going to be looking at not just doing simple calculations using the standard normal curve, the normal curve that has a mean of 0 and a standard deviation of 1, but any normal distribution and how we can calculate probabilities, proportions, things like that, based on um, using the standard normal table. After this lecture, video lecture, I will be doing two additional video lectures, one on how to use the TI Inspire to do these calculations, and another one on how to use Desmos to do these calculations, and the uh, assessment of normality. All right. So the standard procedure for doing problems that have to do with normal distributions that are not standard normal is that first, our problem is going to be expressed in terms of some variable x, and x could be have a mean of anything and a standard deviation of anything. Our second thing is that we're going to draw a picture so we have an intuition about what's going on. When we do our calculations, we're going to standardize the value x, which means we're going to change the value x into a value, a z score, a z value. And then because we have a z value, then we can use table A to do our calculations. And when we conclusion, make sure to include the context of the problem. Let's see this procedure in action. It says, uh, on the driving range, Tiger Woods practices swings with a particular club by hitting many, many golf balls. When Tiger Woods hits his driver, the distance the ball travels it can be described as being normally distributed with a mean of 304 yards and a standard deviation of 8 yards. All right. Now, a picture of that idea is me drawing a normal distribution, putting the mean smack in the center of 304, finding that, again, location of change in concavity, and that is the distance of one standard deviation, or 304 plus 8 is 312, one standard deviation up. If I add another 8, there's two standard deviations up. If I subtract by 8, I get those two numbers. Question: what percent of Tiger's drives travel at least 290 yards? So we can imagine plotting a line here, we're at 290, and saying that all the area under the curve above 290 is the answer to the question that we're seeking. From a notational standpoint, what we say is we have x, which is normally distributed with a mean of 304 and a standard deviation of 8. When we standardize that score, or standardize this x value, we say, well, and again, our formula is x minus mu over sigma, x minus the mean divided by the standard deviation, which is 290 minus 304 over 8. Now I put that in my calculator and I got a standardized score of negative 1.474. Okay, and I'm always going to do these calculations to two decimal places because the table A, the table of normal probabilities, uses two decimal places. And I'm sorry, 175, and you'll see that that z value of negative 1.75 is right there as well. Now, the original question was what proportion or what percent of the drives are greater than 290? But when we standardize that, we get to change that into how many z's are greater than negative 1.75. And that's a problem that we can solve using table A. Remember that this problem happens to be a 1 minus problem, meaning that we have a z value and we're going higher than it. So our answer is going to be 1 minus, and then we'll have to look up the proportion associated with the z value of negative 1.75. So let's switch over to table A. Let's look for negative 1.75. Here's negative 175. Looks to be, did I get it right? Yep, 0.0401, 0.0401, and that's the number I take back to here, 0.0401. And if I do the subtraction, I get 9959. There we go. So I get that 0.9599 is the proportion. And now we have to answer the question in context. And we'll say about 95.99% of Tiger's drives are at least 290 yards. All right, there's problem one done. Problem two, what percent of Tiger Woods' drives are between 305 and 325 feet? So again, there's our drawing with the mean of 304 with our standard deviation of 8 yards. So 304 plus 8 plus another 8, so on and forth. We go ahead and shade in the area between 305 and 325. And now let's go ahead and do the calculation. Again, x is any number coming from a normal distribution with a center of 304 and a standard deviation of 8. And the question being asked of us is what's the probability that x is between 305 and 325? We're going to need to standardize two values in this case. And those two values are going to be what happens at exactly 305. And if we do that calculation, we get 1.2 or 0.125, which we will round up to 1.3. And then the second standardized value is the 325 minus 304 divided by 8. And that number, when you plug it into your calculator, you get 2.625, which we will round up to 2.63. So rewriting the question that we're trying to answer, what proportion are between a z value of 0.13 and 2.63? And you'll probably recognize that this is a high minus low problem. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look up what is 2.63 on our normal table. So we'll scroll down to 2.63. Here's 2.6. Here's 2.63. And that number is 0.9957. 0.9957. Now let's look up 0.13 on the table. 0.13, there it is. It's 0.5517. 0.5517. And if we subtract those two, we get 0.4440. Now, of course, we need to answer this with context of the problems. And that is about 44.40% of Tiger's drives are between 200 or 305 yards, and 325 yards. Right. There's our answer with context. Um, Sometimes we have to work backwards using table A in reverse. In this case, instead of giving us some data and we give them an area, which is consistent with being proportion or percent, this time we're given an area and we're asked to work backward and find the z value or the x value that's consistent with that. It says high levels of cholesterol in the blood increase the risk of heart disease. For 14-year-old boys, the distribution of blood cholesterol is approximately normal with a mean of 170 milligrams of cholesterol per deciliter of blood with a standard deviation of 30 milligrams per deciliter. What is the first quartile of the distribution for blood cholesterol? So let's remember here, we're going to say that we're working with a normal distribution, 170 comma 30. All right. And the formula we're going to be working with is that Z is equal to, of course, X minus mu over sigma. Now, in this case, we know what mu is. We know what the mean is. It's 170. We know what the standard deviation is. It's 30. But the question is, what Z value, what Z score is associated with the 25th percentile? And this is where we go to the table and we work backward. So we're going to go to table A and we're looking for the 25th percentile. 25th percentile is a place where the proportion is as close as can be to 0.25. So somewhere in here, we have a number that's as close as could be to 0.25. It could be this one. Oops, undo. Okay. Could be this one, 0.2514. It could be this one, 0.2483. Which one's closer to 0.2500? This one's 14 thousandths off. This one's 17 thousandths off. So it ends up being this one. And then we work backward. The z value is -6 or negative 0.6. And then we go up until we get to the third digit, the hundredths digit, which is 7. That again. So the z value, negative 0.67. And now the only unknown that I have from that equation is the x value. And now it's a matter of using some algebra. Let's take that negative 0.67 and multiply it by 30, because I'm going to multiply 30 times both sides of this equation. 30's on this side cancel. And when I multiply these two numbers together, I get negative 20.1. And now I've got negative 21.1 is equal to x minus 170. Let's add 170 to both sides of the equation. And when I do that, I get x is 49.9. Now let's answer the question in context, and that is that a 14-year-old boy with a cholesterol level of 149.9 milligrams per deciliter would be at the 25th percentile. All right. And that concludes that page. Now, we go on to descriptions about how to use the TI Inspire, the calculator that we officially use in class, to do these kinds of calculations much more easily than using Table A. I just also want to let you know that the College Board um, also has for you the Desmos software, and this is the software that's going to be embedded into the AP exam. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this recording here. If you want to learn how to do it on TI Inspire, you'll watch the TI Inspire video. And if you want to learn how to do it on Desmos, you'll learn how to do the Desmos version. I don't have a write-up on how to do Desmos in the notes, but you can follow along with the video. And I'll be doing the same group of problems as we go towards the end of the lecture.